me, Katie, and I'm back with another talk through with you about one of the things that I frequently use in my studio. In fact, I use them in almost everything that I create. And that is this old but wonderful little beauty called the Inkadinkado Blending Chalk. And this color set is called Bold Brights. I want to talk to you a minute about these because now mine is, as you can see here, mine's pretty darn beat up, but mine's about 7 years old, so you can see how long these last. This is what the pigments and the colors actually look like. The coloring is a little bit off from normal, but what I want to show you is that for the most part, these are a highly and very richly pigmented, let me get a few colors here for you, pigmented chalk. There's 3 colors for you. So I know that people say, you know, that maybe these aren't the best or this wouldn't be their choice, but I want to tell you, look at that pink. Now, let me remind you that these are indeed chalks, okay? So they are going to rub off. They are not permanent on your clay unless you seal your clay, okay? And the other thing that I just want to remind you is that with blending chalks, look, I wiped off my fingers and the color is still left behind. The other thing that I want to remind you about blending chalks is that they are meant to build upon each other. So if you want a very, very light pink for cheek color or an accent, you can do that with a very soft touch. But if you continue to build it, you can also build it up. I love chalk powders. They add that instant gratification without being metallic. Mica powders have that metallic edge to them, which is great for some things, but it's not great for everything. So I really do enjoy using these blending chalks. My tool of choice is this very old, let me see if I can get it here for you, just very old, cheap paintbrush from the craft store. I got these several years ago. There was a set of about 4 or 5 of them. It has a triangle handle. I don't know if you can tell there, but they're really different. It's not a round handle. I like it because I can use it more like a pencil when I'm actually adding chalk to things. It gives me a little bit more control. Now, this is the only thing that I use this brush for is chalk powders. So I have had this brush for 6 years and it still has yet to fail, and I have no intention of replacing it anytime soon. I find that the best way to add these chalk powders specifically is with a brush. And you can see almost all the colors that I use often, they have like little holes or little indents in the middle. And I apologize, that color, there we go. Now it's not so washed out. They have little holes in them. That's because these chalks, unlike a traditional chalk or what many people are more familiar with is pan pastels, they're very hard. This is not a soft chalk. Yes, it is powdery. Most chalks are powdery, but it is extremely hard. In many cases, and you can really tell here with the red in the bottom, you'll see that there's scratch lines. In many cases, for me to be able to use these, I actually had to take a needle tool and scratch the surface a little bit to kind of loosen that pigment out, and then start swirling my brush in it. Now, after using them several times, you won't have that problem, but initially you may. Again, these chalks are made by Inkadinkado. I got mine at a big box craft store years ago, though I have not been able to find this exact set since. This set is called Bold Brights. There are other sets under other names. I chose the Bold Brights because to me, it had a great mix of dark color, of light color, and even a few pastels. The addition of the white, I will honestly tell you, I have not barely ever used the white in my almost 7 years of claying experience. So I'm not sure that the white, unless you're working with a black clay that you would want to lighten or do a certain surface technique on, I'm not sure that that is a powder that would suit polymer clay as well. For an everyday use. Not that it can't be used, but as an everyday use, it's not one you would turn to. The ones that I use most are oranges, pinks, greens, and blues, because I do a lot of earth things, so the green and blue helps to add definition to leaves. The brown I also use a whole lot. And I use brown over black. I like to use brown as shading. I like to use brown to kind of help add that depth to a piece that sometimes is lacking. And again, you can do that with antiquing and acrylic paint afterwards, but I'm kind of instant gratification, and if I can do it with chalk powder first, I'll do it with that first to avoid the mess later. So I think that's all I really wanted to tell you today about the Inkadinkado Bold Bright chalk set. I will have a link below where you can read the blog post on this particular set, how I use them, and what you can use them for. I will also leave a link below where you can purchase them on Amazon. So I hope that this video has been beneficial to you and for your claying time and experience. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and I'll see you soon.